I call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Council, Borough of River Edge, April 12th, 2021, regular meeting. I asked for us all to stand for a moment of silence for all those lost to the COVID and those lost and those shooting victims and their family. So if we have a moment of silence and then a pledge. Together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Okay, statement of compliance with Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meeting Act by notification on January 8th of this location, date, and time to the Ridgewood News and the Record, and by posting of the same on the municipal bulletin board and borough website, and filing of the same with municipal clerk. We are also having this meeting virtual due to all the regulations and amendments permitted during COVID-19. Okay, a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Steve? Will be arriving late. Councilman Kanigo?
Here.
Councilman Godier? Councilwoman Kaufman?
Here.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Here.
Councilwoman Cohen?
Here.
And Papaleo.
Here. Okay, could I have Councilwoman Kinsella and move, and Councilwoman Monsanto and second approval of the minutes of the Mayor and Council regular meeting of March 22nd, 2021.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. This is a non-debatable motion. All those in favor, roll call.
Councilman Kanigo?
Yes.
Councilman Godier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen?
Yes.
All right, we're up to approval of the minutes. I'm sorry, we're up to proclamations, awards, a declaration declaring April 30th as Arbor Day. So proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for fire, countless other wood products. Whereas trees in our city increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Whereas trees, whenever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Thomas Papaleo, Mayor of the Borough of River Edge, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day in the Borough of River Edge, and I urge all the citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Further, urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Is Jen Dougherty or Liz Stewart present?
Jen is here. She just needs to unmute herself.
I'm here. How are you? I don't know why my
Good.
video's not on, but here we go. How are you?
There we go.
Good, Jen. It's good to see you.
You
Jen,
too.
could you introduce yourself to the public? And would you like some comments about this proclamation?
Sure. Jen Dougherty. I'm one of the Shade Tree Commissioners. I've been a volunteer for about 23 years. We're kind of excited today for this Arbor Day because we're going to continue to do the seedlings and putting them out for the residents in 3 different locations this year. We received a really good response from our residents. When we posted, I guess we informed them with our lawn signs. We put them all around our community. We had the Girl Scouts taking our seedlings, and what they're doing is they're going to separate them and they're going to tag them. So when the residents do pick up a tree seedling, they'll know exactly what type of tree they're receiving. We'll also have some instructions for the residents on, planting and watering and care. We'll also have information posted on the borough website about how to care and take for them. And if they have any questions, how to get in touch with us. We'll also have another exciting project this year. We have Rich Myers, who just joined us as a commissioner. And he is going to be doing a planting with the Boy Scouts. I don't have the full details yet. He's still in the midst of working that, but we're going to start doing a program where we're going to be planting trees on Arbor Day. And it's going to be on the Oak Path. And so there's going to be starting to be a history of, we're going to plan on, the Boy Scout Troop X did this on this day. And when residents start walking through, they'll see how the community was involved in recognizing Arbor Day. Currently, we're not sure how the schools are going to participate in Arbor Day. We're working with them right now and don't have a full detail on that now just because of the condition that we're in. But we're excited that we're still reminding our community of what Arbor Day is about.
That's wonderful. And the Shade Tree works so very hard. Jen, just for the public's edification, how long does it take to get certified for Shade Tree Commission? What's involved with that?
Well, certification goes different ways. Do you mean to be like for core training or to be commissioned? Yeah. For core training? So, yeah. So currently right now, to do core training, once a year, the Shade Tree Federation offers a course. And you have to take it. Right now it's virtually, and our 2 new commissioners are just about finished with that, taking the core training. And it really emphasizes not just like how to plant a tree, but it goes over the legality of the trees, educating residents, mayor and council, speaking with people, the different types of trees. And then after you get this core training, it kind of protects our town, saying that, you have these volunteers who are volunteering, but they actually understand the importance of tree safety, tree maintenance, tree environmental protection of our town. I mean, right now, I think we have so many people who've been working at home right now that people are getting more calls about, I want a tree, I don't have a tree. And we can explain to them, that's great. And they're like, my house is so hot. If you plant more trees around your property, it will cool it down. Or there's a lot of different things. And we have a lot more programs that we're going to try to do this year, just to educate more of the public, because we're definitely getting a definite positive feedback from them.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
So every year also we do have the Shade Tree Commission. Actually, this year it's going to be in person in October, so that's a little exciting. So every year we're required by the state to receive a certain amount of credits. They're called CEUs, to continue to be certified by the state for our management program.
And that management program and certification allows us to get grants. Is that not correct?
That's correct. So we just finished our last grant, which was $30,000. We matched it with all in-kind hours. We planted 85 trees. And actually the great part about it was the grant, we had to have 100% survival rate for the grant, and we did, and it's all set now. And we're looking forward to them coming out with some more grants. But it's we have to have a management plan to receive grants. And we just received we just received our, just so you know, we just received our sticker. We're 21 years Tree City USA and 15 years Growth Awards.
Awesome. So for every couple of years, there's a grant that comes out. It may be more than 30,000, maybe less, but the last one was 30,000, which saved the residents of River Edge $30,000 in tax dollars. We lose more trees than we plant due to age, due to weather, due to stress. And our Shade Tree Commission, getting their certification, getting their management program in is a real benefit to the people of River Edge, not just in curb appeal and therefore property values, but also in saving tax dollars. So Jen, I want to thank you and Liz Stewart and all the members of the Shade Tree Commission. This proclamation I'm going to give to the clerk, and the clerk is going to get it to you. And thank you for coming and accepting it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your support from the mayor and council. It really helps a lot that you're with us and you participate. We look forward to a few more programs we have to have your support this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're grateful to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts for their participation in Arbor Day. So please convey our gratitude towards them, okay? And especially the troop leaders who work so very hard.
Yes.
Take care, Jen.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Madam Clerk, would you please recognize that Councilwoman Bastide has now joined us. We knew that she was going to be late. She's here now. Welcome, Councilwoman Bastide. All right, everybody, we need to open to public comments on any items on the agenda and the agenda only. Could I have Councilwoman Bastide move and Council President Kanigo second for to open to the public on items on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Councilman Goodyear,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Indira, I don't think we heard you.
Yes.
thank you, and Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
All right, great. We're now open to the public. I'm going to surrender the meeting to our moderator, Councilwoman Kaufman.
So if anyone has a question, just raise your hand and I will allow you to speak it, or you can type it in the chat box. Don't appear to be any questions.
All right, could I have Councilman Gaudier move and Councilwoman Kaufman second to close to the public on any item on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Councilman Goodyear,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we're up to appointments and personnel changes. Is there any member of council who'd like to pull out any item A through F for a question or for a comment or for a separate vote? Hearing none, I'm going to move them as a block. When I'm done moving them as a block, could I have Councilwoman Kaufman move and Councilwoman Kinsella second? Appointment and personnel changes. Approve the satisfactory completion of the 4-month probation period and salary increase of Jessica Verone, Supervisor of Circulation, River Edge Public Library, from an annual salary of $40,000 to $45,000, effective April 14th. Approve the satisfactory completion of the 4-month probation period and salary increase of Rosemary Garcia, Youth Services Library Associate, River Edge Public Library, from an annual salary of $40,000 to $45,000, effective April 30th, 2021. Approve the salary change of Gabriel Colucci, police officer, from an annual salary of $51,796 to patrol officer 17 grade, $60,934 effective April 8th. Approve the salary change of Brandon Goez, police officer, from an annual salary of $51,796 to patrol officer 17 grade, $60,934 effective effective May 13th, 2021. Approve the salary change of Edward Blue, police officer, from an annual salary of $97,495 to police officer 12th grade of $106,635 effective May 5th, 2021. Approve the hiring of Allison Kaufman, part-time summer help in Department of Public Works at an hourly rate of $15 up to 29 hours per week effective June 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Steve,
Yes.
Councilman Kamiga,
Yes.
Councilman Guerriero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, there are monthly reports available to the public. Land Use Board, February 10th, 2021. Historic Commission, March 2021. Police Department, Acting Chief at the time, Michael Walker, January, March 2021. Fire Department, March 2021. Tax Collector, March 2021. Fire Prevention, January through March 2021. We're up to item number 10, first reading and ordinances. So we have so in a moment, I'm going to ask for a first and a second. Could I have Councilwoman Montesano Cohen moved and Council President Kinigo second, ordinance 2115, an ordinance by the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, prohibiting the operation of any class of cannabis business within its geographical boundaries and amending chapter 416 zoning of River Edge Borough Code. Could I have a motion in a second?
Mr. Mayor,
So
before we
moved.
move in, I'm sorry, before.
No,
we
it
move
has to be
in
moved in second for us to discuss it.
second.
Robert's rules.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. It will be open for debate in a second and comment. Council, Ms. Apratella, our BA, would you please explain to the public the purpose of this ordinance?
Yes, once the state legislature adopted various bills with regards to the legalization of cannabis, one of the requirements involved municipalities that if they wanted to opt out, the deadline is August 31st of this year. And this type of ordinance is not one of those where it would be introduced one meeting and adopted the following meeting. Since this is a zoning ordinance, it has to go to the planning board, review and discussion. That's a 35-day window. So if introduced this evening, the public hearing would be held on May 24th. Again, the opt-out time clock is due August 31st. And as the governing body had discussed previously, the purpose of introducing this ordinance, should it be adopted, is to comply with that regulation. Nothing prohibits the governing body from revisiting it and making any changes.
Okay, we're now open to discussion, debate, comment. Council President Kaniga.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was actually going to ask whether it was possible to table this until the next meeting. I just attended a seminar the other day that was given on this particular subject. And there's some issues that we still don't quite have correct answers to, including and specifically at the seminar, it was presented that all actions for or against will be unalterable for 5 years. I know Mr. Sarlo had told us that only failure to act would be unalterable for 5 years. There was a discrepancy. Then a conversation was had between the presenters. One felt that it was correct that any action taken would be unalterable for 5 years. The other one said, no, only failure to act will be unalterable for 5 years. I think these are things that need to be vetted, and we need a correct answer before we proceed even with this, because this may have effect well beyond the 5-year period if we choose wrong. And from what I can tell from the list that Ms. Arpitella has been giving us, we're amongst the first that are really saying, moving forward with this, although there's plenty of other municipalities that are as well. But the majority are kind of waiting and sitting and trying to figure out what's going on. And from my understanding, the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for New Jersey met today for the first time. So it's possible that they address some of these issues, and there's a variety of other issues as well. And I was going to bring them up at the meeting that the Cannabis Commission here in town has tomorrow night so that we can discuss it amongst ourselves. But given that this is still very early and we still do have some time to fall within the June 21st deadline for passing this ordinance so that we can get it in by August 31st, I would say let's table it for another meeting at least, and let's try to vet some of these issues out.
Mr. Solo, can you comment on the law and the issue of the 5 years?
Sure. The way the statute's written, I wasn't at the lecture, so I don't know what the presenters were trying to interpret, but the language in the statute indicates that if you do nothing, which obviously is not an option, then you are prohibited from doing or reintroducing an ordinance for another 5 years. If you allow the cannabis to, in any form, shape, or form with regard to a license, again, you are then prohibited from passing another ordinance prohibiting it within the 5-year period. Any license that is awarded based on the allowing the ordinance, they're grandfathered in. However, I don't see anything in the statute that says if you prohibit it, you now have to wait 5 years to allow it into your municipality. That the only, again, the plain language is the two that I just spoke about. I don't have anything in the language, the statute that actually says, I don't think they want that. They want you to accept it. They want to make it easy for you to accept it. So I don't believe that by prohibiting it, it will, you can't then reverse trend. A lot of towns are doing it this way just to give them enough time and not to rush a statute, an ordinance through allowing it. They want to make sure they get it right. However, as long as we do something by, and I believe the deadline is, I don't have it in front of me, August 21st. So as long as we have enough time to introduce, send it to the zoning board, and to pass it on a second reading before, let's say, August 21st, I have no problems with waiting again if you so choose, or tabling it. However, you can introduce tonight. You still have plenty of time because you got 35 days to send it to the zoning ordinance, and then on your second, we can always make modifications as long as there's no substantial changes. And then in between that first and second reading, if you decide to go the other way, well, obviously the ordinance would not be passed on the second.
I don't disagree with any. I don't disagree with anything that Mr. Sarlo said, and I actually read the statute, Tom, the same way you read it. However, there was a long conversation about it, and there was no resolution to that question. And it wasn't something I brought up. I was just an attendee there. So I think And from what they told us, our act has to be in place by June 21st in order for everything to meet the August 21st deadline, with it going to the land use board. And there's also another question that we have to address. I think we're going to have to ask our planner to take a look at the master plan and to see how any legislation will fit in. So we should probably do that sooner rather than later, and perhaps invite Mr. Behrens to one of the cannabis committee meetings as well. So for all those reasons, I think if we table this for 2 weeks, it's not going to harm us in any way, and it's not going to put us behind the 8 ball at all. But the 2 weeks will give the cannabis committee an opportunity to discuss some of these things, perhaps invite the town planner, perhaps seek a little more clarification from Mr. Sarlo, although again, I personally, I 100% agree with everything you said, and my reading is the same, but the discrepancy was brought up by people who are giving classes on this, so I figure let's address it rather than go forward tonight.
So
Yes.
what is the council's opinion? Do we want to table, or do we want to move forward, recognizing it's not binding?
Sorry, Mayor,
If we move
I'd just like
forward-
to make a comment.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm in agreement with President Keel because I attended the same seminar, and there was a discrepancy in one person reading the law one way and another way. And I think that if we wait a little longer to vet what the actual law will come to, then it's no harm.
Okay. Any other member of council wish to weigh in, ask a comment, enter into debate? All right, so it would appear to me that we wish to table this. Mr. Sarlo, do we need a motion to table, or do we just not move to a roll call?
No, let's make it on the table.
Okay, so Council President Kanigo, would you make such a motion to table, and Councilwoman Kinsella, would you second?
So moved.
Second,
We have now before us a motion to table ordinance 21-15. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Councilman Gaudier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Hear
Let me
me?
show you look like you're frozen.
Did you hear me?
No,
Yes.
thank you. Councilwoman Kinsella,
yes.
and Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
okay, so it has been tabled to the next council meeting. It's so noted. Okay, let's move to ordinance 21-16. Could I have Councilwoman Bastide move and Councilman Gaudier second? Ordinance 21-16, an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the officers and employees of the Borough of River Edge in the Bergen of County of Bergen and the state of New Jersey for the year 2021.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded, is now before the council. Ms. Apertola, could you, for the public's benefit, could you explain the ordinance?
Yes, this ordinance is for a title change involving a member of the DPW, the office manager, who also serves as the Borough Certified Recycling Professional. And this is just to combine both positions in one title for also succession planning. In the event this person retires or resigns, the successor will be required to hold that certification, which is acquired through Rutgers.
Okay, we're now open for debate, comment, questions. Is there any debate, any questions, any comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Councilman Gaudier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, could I have Councilwoman Cohen move in a minute and Councilwoman Bastide second? Ordinance 21-17, bond ordinance to authorize the improvement of Bogart Road, Section 5. in and by and for the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $319,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Could I have our BA and Ms. Apertola please speak to the ordinance?
Yes, regarding both this ordinance and 2118, the governing body introduced their budget and will be holding their hearing on the municipal budget at the next meeting, the 26th. And part of that includes the capital budget. And in order to carry out these programs, a bond ordinance is required, and they're separated because 2117 involves a grant from the Department of Transportation, which will also pay for the costs, and 2118 is for all the other projects in the capital budget.
Okay, is there debate, comment, or questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kamiga,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
yes,
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, could I have Council President Kinigo move and Councilwoman Kinsella second? Ordinance 21-18, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new, additional, or replacement equipment and machinery, new information technology equipment, new communication and signal system equipment, and a new fire truck, partially funding, and a new automobile vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment in and by and for the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $3,435,561 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate Borough Open Space Trust funds and a county grant, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Needs to be moved and seconded.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We are now open for debate, discussion, or inquiry. Is there any? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Kamiga,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
yes,
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we go to items number 11, A, B, and C. These are second readings and or hearings open to the public on ordinances 21-12 through 21-14. Let me begin by asking Councilwoman Montesano Cohen to move and Councilman Godier second after I read ordinance 21-12, calendar year 2021, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
So moved.
second,
Our business administrator, Ms. Apertola, sorry.
Okay. This ordinance, as I had explained at the last meeting, it is an annual ordinance that is adopted. And as explained by the auditor, this is a good planning tool to provide cap relief in case there are any large spikes in appropriations subject to the spending caps when the index rate is less than 3.5%.
Okay, we did move and second it, right?
To open to the public?
Go open to the public, yeah.
We did. So now roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kamiga,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
yes,
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Michelle, I think you're frozen again.
She's frozen.
Okay, let's give her a moment to unfreeze. Oh, no. All right, so we need to give her a moment to come back. Just do that. Okay, Mr. Sarlo, can we proceed to ask the public if they have comments or questions?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, I have the attendee list up. I can see that we have 3, 6, 8 attendees. Is there, okay. Is there any member who would like to ask a question? Please raise your hand and we'll see if we can't. Actually, to be honest with you, I think only Michelle can allow them to speak. This is unmute all, mute all.
They should be able to type something in the chat.
I can, actually I can. So is there anyone who would like to raise their hand? Please do so. I'm currently looking at the list. All right, I don't see anyone raising their hand. Let us look in the chat now. Let's see, shared content, questions and answers. I do not see any questions there. I'm looking, does anyone see anything in the chat that I don't see?
There's one right now, Mr. Mayor, on the
Good.
chat I saw. Yeah.
Is
Ken
this
Schuffenhauer is asking if this is for discussion on KBG. No, this is for the ordinance 2112.
All right, is there another one person who'd like to either raise their hand or would they like to put something in the chat? Council President Kanigo, if you can watch the chat while I watch the hands.
Will
Do you
do.
see anything?
Nothing.
Neither do I. We're going to give it another 20 seconds. Michelle's not. Was Michelle the last one?
No, I still need,
Finish the roll. Go ahead.
to finish the roll until Councilwoman Coffey gets back to us. Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, I just got a text message from Councilwoman Kaufman saying that she's trying to get back in. But we can proceed since there are no other questions. She's asking if we are still on. Let me just respond to that. Yes, we are, and we are now closing to the public on this ordinance. Okay, so could I have Councilwoman Bastide move and Councilwoman Kinsella second to close to the public on ordinance 21-12.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo,
Yes.
Councilman Dodier,
yes,
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move now to ordinance 21-13. Could I have Councilwoman Montesano move and Councilman Gaudier second? Ordinance 21-13, an ordinance to amend chapter 360 of the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge entitled Storm Joy Code.
So
Oh,
moved.
my bad. But no. So we're going to actually ask the same people to move in second for adoption. Our clerk has caught me from making a mistake. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. Evans. So we are now moving ordinance 21-12 for adoption. Could I have?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Before
No,
we
no.
do, I just need some clarification because I don't want to make a mistake. I answered Mr. Schuffenhauer, who asked me whether this ordinance had anything to do with KBG, and I said, no, it did not, but perhaps it does. So I just want to make sure that it does not, and if so, then we have to reopen to the public because there may be questions.
Absolutely. Ms. Albertelli.
No, 2112 solely involves establishing the cap bank pursuant to state statute. KVG was part of the multipurpose bond ordinance 21-18. This covers a multitude of projects on our capital budget. And with regards to parks, there's benches, there's equipment, and there is the KVG project and that's the part that includes that there's an appropriation of borough open space trust funds and county grant.
Okay, and on that one, we can't open to the public anyway because it's a first reading.
Correct.
So we can
Correct.
proceed with the vote on 2112. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
No problem. But just to make sure that we have continuity, can it be moved and seconded for adoption again?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. We are open for debate. Is there any debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Steve,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes,
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
All right, we now move to ordinance 21-13. Could I have Councilwoman Kaufman move and Council President Kamigo second after I finish reading? This would be opening to the public. Ordinance 21-13, ordinance to amend chapter 360 of the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge entitled Storm Water Control.
So moved.
second.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Steve,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes,
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we're now open to the public. We'll turn over the meeting to our moderator, Councilwoman Kaufman.
So if anyone has a question, just raise your hand and I'll allow you to speak, or type the question in the chat box. I do not see any questions.
Could I have Councilwoman Bastide move and Councilman Godier second to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Steve,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
yes,
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Could I have Council President Kanigo move and Councilwoman Kaufman second to adopt ordinance 21-13?
so moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We're open to debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Steve,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes,
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we're now up to ordinance 21-14. In a moment, could I have Councilwoman Monsanto Cohen move and Councilwoman Kinsella second to open to the public ordinance 21-14 and ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge, chapter 400, vehicles and traffic.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Steve,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
yes,
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cochran,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we're open to the public. Councilwoman Kaufman, take it away.
Once again, any questions, just raise your hand and I will allow you to speak or type your question in the chat box. I do not see any questions.
Okay, could I have Councilman Gaudier move and Councilwoman Kaufman second to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Steve,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Could I have Councilwoman Bastide move and Councilwoman Matsano Clowen second to adopt ordinance 21-14?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. We are open for debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we are up to item 12, resolutions by consent, 21-121 through 21-128. Is there any resolution that any member of council wishes to pull out for a separate debate and vote, or is there any resolution that any member of council wishes to ask a question about?
21-122, so.
All right, do you wish to ask a question, or do you wish to have a separate debate and vote?
I think we'll have to have a separate debate on it.
Okay, very good. So let's move the others and we'll come back to it. So without objection, is there any objection to that? Okay, could I have Councilwoman Kinsella move and Council President Kanigo second, resolution 21-121, 21-123 through 21-128 as a group.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there debate? Hearing none, can we please have roll call?
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
All right, we're going to come back to 21-122. We're going to move on. Before we do that one, we're going to do payment of the bills, 21-129. Could I have our finance chair move and one member of the finance committee second payment of the bills?
At a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on April 12th, 2021, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge approve the following expenditures. Current account, $1,777,557.92. Capital account, $21,574. Grant fund account, $5,124.69. Animal control account, $46.20. Trust other account, $1,386.82. Payroll account, $12,028.66. Recreation trust account, $1,506.82. So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go back to 21-122 in just a moment, just for the public's edification. The reason the current account was $1,777,000 and change is because we collect on behalf of the Board of Education. It is our obligation under state statute to collect taxes that they levy on the public. So we are the collecting agency. They are the taxing agency. We then hold it until, and we make payments to our school districts as arranged by prior agreement. So that was the majority. I think it was 1.1 or about 1.1 million of that money was for at least one of the school districts. All right, so now we return to 21-122, a resolution permitting the possession and consumption of alcohol beverages at a block party on Center Avenue. For it to be a matter of debate, it has to be moved and seconded, and then the debate would be open. That is Robert's rules. So could I have Councilwoman Kinsella move and Councilwoman Montesano Cohen second, 21-122.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. We are now open to debate. I recognize Council President Kanigo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in reviewing my packet this week, I came across this resolution. You know, I certainly don't want to be a killjoy here, but it seems to me that we're still in the midst of a pandemic. We are still one of the highest. I think today the New York Times reported that we're the second highest state in the nation in cases. Our hospitals are still at high levels. I think it was 44% of ICU cases are COVID cases as of this morning. And it just seems to me that a party with 100 people on a small block where alcohol is going to be consumed pretty much guarantees that those consuming alcohol are not going to be wearing masks. It says here it has to be social coverings will have to be maintained. Obviously, if you're drinking beers and wine, you're not wearing a social covering, and these types of parties tend to have people close together. You know, I'm not in any way being judgmental, and it brings me no pleasure. But it just doesn't seem to be something that we as a governing body should be allowing until the numbers are much better in New Jersey. Every day I hear of people who are testing positive. It's on our Facebook groups. Over the last couple of days, I heard that there was at least 2 coaches of one boys and one girls team who tested positive. Those teams are now for the next 14 days unable to play, which is heart-wrenching after trying to get these programs off the ground and all the hard work that the volunteers have put in. And it just, to me, doesn't seem like a good idea. So, you know, I would like the council to consider that. And, you know, a lot of people are waiting for parties in this town. And I'm not quite sure that, you know, in 4 weeks, we're going to be back to the level where it's no longer a danger.
Okay, so we've heard a voice in opposition. Is there any voice in favor? If not, we could hear another voice in opposition according to Robert's rules. Is there someone who would like to offer a comment?
Council President Kanigo, are you suggesting not approving the block party completely or removing the permission of possession and consumption of alcohol?
Well, I mean, I think what I'd like this particular street to consider is perhaps coming back to us later in the summer when circumstances hopefully will have changed for the better. I'm not sure that if we approve the party, you know, alcohol will not be involved. Again, no judgment. I certainly drink alcohol at parties and with others, but I just don't know that as a governing body we should be approving it. So, but I'm certainly willing to listen to, you know, arguments for a party without alcohol, if that's what you think is better, and your thoughts on it entirely. again, I really don't like being put in this situation and in this position to even have to bring it up. I wish this wasn't before us, but it is, so we have to address it.
Okay, is there another question, comment? Someone wishing to amend?
I mean, I think even if there isn't alcohol, people will be eating and drinking and talking to each other, so.
I personally think that is premature to be considering a block party, given the numbers, given the situation we're in, the new variants, and how high New Jersey has been ranking for the past 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I wish we could have a party in my block.
Are there any more comments, positions of support, opposition, or amending?
I'm in agreement with President Knigo.
Okay. Any other comments in support, in opposition, or questions of amending? Hearing none, we will now put it to a vote. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
What are we voting on? I'm sorry.
We are, since there was no motion to amend, we are, the resolution is as standing. We're voting to either approve or deny the entire resolution.
Thank you. No.
Councilman Knigo,
No.
Councilman Gaudier,
No.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
No,
Councilwoman Kinsella,
No,
Councilwoman Cohen.
No.
Okay, so that is 100%. But I did hear that, at least from Council President, that the council may reconsider at a future date, especially later in the summer, if vaccinations and COVID infection numbers go down. And I think the council was in agreement with that. So it has been denied, but there is reason to believe that the applicant could make another request later in the summer. All right, we now move to new business. We have an outdoor concert request. Who would speak to this? Who placed this on the agenda?
Lisa, do you want me to introduce it, or?
Yes, you could introduce it and
Okay.
I'll follow up.
So the library has came to us looking to have an outdoor concert on June 26th, I believe. We ran the routine issues through the GIF and through SEO, and I believe that all that needed to be taken care of for purposes of the insurance were taken care of. Obviously, they have agreed and committed to meeting social distancing. I don't think the public will be congregated, to which I think Lisette received some more information from the library as of yesterday.
Is that Bertella?
Yes, correct. The group, they said that they would keep the participants socially distanced and wearing masks. And it would be held outdoors on June 26th at 11 o'clock. The hours of the concert would be 2, maybe 3 hours at max. And they have held a concert during pre-COVID time at the library. And before obtaining all the documentation for insurance, I advised Ms. Lee that this requires governing body approval. And I also mentioned that while as of today, the executive order allows the outdoor limit to 200 persons, they have to know that by the time this event takes place, if there's an executive order that reduces that amount, that they have to comply with the executive order. So any approval would be conditional, subject to any future executive order from Governor Murphy.
Okay, we're open for discussion. Any member, please raise your hand or just unmute yourself.
I have a quick question. Where is this supposed to be held?
Ms. Apatella?
It is held outside the library. It's just an outdoor concert. I'm sure it would be probably in the parking lot that has been used by the organizations the past couple of weeks for their fundraisers. And I did,
Though-
and the
though if
police
it's not
department has no
specified,
issue.
Though it's not specified, it could end up being in behind, because they have had concerts and events in the rear of the library, but it's not been specified.
Correct.
Council President Kaniga.
Yes, first of all, is the work on Continental Avenue, will that have started by June 26th?
I'm not sure. It depends. We still haven't received approval from the Department of Transportation to move ahead. Once we receive the approval, then the borough engineer can prepare the bid specs and go out to bid. So again, until we hear from the from the Department of Transportation, I cannot confirm.
Do we have any sense as to whether it might be going on? Because I would imagine that's going to change things, especially if they start work on the parking lot first, right?
Correct.
Okay. Look, generally I have the same concerns as I did with the block party, although obviously it appears there wouldn't be food here. I'm not quite sure how you can police this, and I'm not quite sure that we should even be asking our police force to police masks. So, for me, in order to be fair to everybody, I would tend to think that until we get out of this high risk level that we have, we should still be erring in the side of caution. I certainly would welcome thoughts as to why we shouldn't and why we should allow it, but just at first blush, to me, it doesn't seem to make sense at this time.
Councilwoman Bastide.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll put my hand down. I guess I would like to see us be able to approve an event like this. I feel as though are they going to be on blankets? Are they going to be in chairs? I think that if we can require them to cap the number of people that can attend based on them being successful in social distancing, like workout, if they're going to use the grassy area, they can only have 50 people and adequately social distance. I'd like to see if we can find a way to make this work for them. And I just think that we should be clear that we're going to prohibit the consumption of any type of food or beverage at the concert. If we can do those things, I'd really like to find a way to make something like this work.
Just to answer, yes, they would bring their own chairs and participants would pre-register and they would cap it at 50 to 60.
Okay, that makes, I feel more comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Any other member of council would like to raise their hand or signaling or unmute themselves? Joe, Councilman Gordier.
I would ask that our health department review their COVID mitigation plan.
That can be a condition, absolutely. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to add that I also was a bit concerned about when this proposal came to us, all things being equal, still is a gathering. But they work hard in providing some belts and suspenders, some that we could get comfortable with. The pre-registration was a great idea also to try to limit this. And to echo Councilwoman Bastide, I'm hoping that this is one event that even given the circumstances, with all the protocols in place, we could get in support.
Any other comments, opinions? All right, so why don't we do this as a roll call? Let's have Councilwoman Cohen make a motion to allow this, given the restrictions that have been mentioned, including Councilman Gaudier's restriction that it needs to be reviewed first by the health department. And if we could have Councilwoman Bastide second it, and then we can put it to a vote.
So moved with the changes mentioned by the mayor.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Basid,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Bodier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we now have new business item B, equipment storage for the River Edge Cub Scout Troop 95. Who would be speaking to this?
Yes,
Ms. Hopkins.
the Cub Scout Troop 95 has a storage container on borough property and currently at the KBG field by the swim club. And to draw more members, they're considering allowing to merge with Oradell, New Milford, or other out-of-towners. So the question that they had was, would there be an issue with providing these out-of-towners access to this storage container? And it was reviewed with our risk manager, Ezio Atamura, and he said that there wouldn't be any issue as long as a certificate of liability insurance, naming the borough as an additional insured, is filed. And so that's the only legal requirement. And this is just for council edification. Right now, the troop hasn't made any firm plans, it's just conceptual, and they just want to know in the event they do bring in troops from out of town, that this wouldn't be an issue for troop leaders to access those supplies.
I'm going to speak to this and then I'll bring it to council. Since this is just an inquiry, I think that I would recommend to the council that we're open to discussing it at a future date, because they're not really asking for a decision at this time, are they, Ms. Apatella?
To my knowledge, I don't believe so. Like right now, as I said, the membership is in a decline and they're considering merging with the other troops from other towns.
Any member of council would like to also comment?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Kenny Lehman from Troop 95 came to me and asked me this question. If the council will recall, Mr. Lehman came to the council a couple of years ago and asked that this box be placed on the borough property so that they could store equipment, because as different leaders graduated out of the program, people found their basements inundated with equipment and so forth. So we, the council, allowed that box to be placed there, and as far as I know, there have been no issues whatsoever. Now faced with this decline in membership, they're considering possibly combining with one or more troops. And it really would be only about allowing those troops to store equipment there and their leaders when necessary to access it. But if they're combining, it would also be including River Edge. So it's just adding the access to some other leaders. Since it's their equipment, it's their box, it's their locks, the only thing that we provide is the where to place it all. I really see no problem with it, and I will tend to agree with you. Let's just keep an open mind for when it actually comes forward. Mr. Lehman told me that they would be getting whatever certificate of insurance. If that's the requirement, they would have no problem with doing that when the time comes. But again, they've made no decision at this time. But certainly with all the good that the Boy Scouts do, we should do whatever we can to help them out.
I'm in agreement. Is there a general consensus? Is there anyone who objects to this? Any member of council wishes to weigh in an objection? If not, we'll consider that we have a consensus that we are open to this at a future date. Is there objection? Hearing none, we are open to this at a future date. Old business, Cannabis Committee. Council President, I don't think we have anything to report at this time that we haven't already shared with the council. But
No, but
you might.
I actually do have another item of new business I wanted to bring up, if it's possible.
All right, then we'll stay with new business. Go ahead.
Okay, this past week, I was present at the Traffic and Safety Committee meeting. And one of the issues that was raised again was the specter of speeding on Howland Avenue and ways that perhaps the speeding could be reduced. It continues to be a problem. The Traffic and Safety Committee bantered around several different ideas, but it quickly became obvious that perhaps the best way to really address this would be to hire a traffic engineer and conduct a study and have a professional give us their thoughts on the matter. I know that it has possibly been looked at before, but from Officer Diamond's review of the files, he couldn't find that an actual engineering study had ever been performed. So at some point, I believe, and I'm not sure if it's already happened, Ms. Portela, but we'll be asking whether there are funds available for such a study and whether one can be conducted. So I'm not sure what the process is going forward, but I wanted to make the council aware of it and ask that it be considered at some point.
Did the Traffic and Safety also consider the email about Spring Valley? Because it's a similar concern.
Spring Valley? No, I think it was Lakeview.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, my bad, Lakeview.
Yeah, they did consider it, and I believe, Mr. Carroll's on with us. I believe that we also wanted to retain a traffic engineer for that, but if I may ask Neil, can you chime in on this?
Hold on one second. Let me, there we go. Okay.
Okay, Neil, unmute yourself.
Discussion was the possibility of a one-way street from Valley up to Reservoir. And they were going to check with Richie Curran to see if a previous study could be brought up.
And there was also, I brought up the idea of possibly signs, because by way of background, the resident on Lakeview said that they have a special needs child and they're worried about the speeding up and down Lakeview in narrow quarters and obviously the effect it could have on them. So one thing I noted is that I've seen signs that specifically call attention to the fact that in the area there lives a special needs child, be it a deaf child or autistic child, whatever the case may be, and that these signs are placed at an eye level where a driver can see them well ahead within the location of the house. So I think Pat was going to take a look at that as well.
Didn't someone make the recommendation that maybe we wait to do the traffic study till after COVID so that we're back to normal traffic levels?
That was for
Oh, good.
Something else?
Yeah, that was Mr. Winter's block, Center, right?
Bogut Road from Route 4 to Howland Avenue.
Yeah, but that was the other one by the train station.
Not familiar with that one.
Sure, where he wanted to bar the left turn from the River Edge train station.
Oh, left
block is
turn
escape.
coming west on River Edge Road, no left turn into Center.
Right, Center. But correct, but the traffic study we're talking about right now is the one on Howland and possibly Lakeview, but Lakeview we're looking into the possibility. I believe Pat said that there was a study done as to the feasibility of a one-way, turning it into a one-way street.
That was after the survey of all the residents.
Correct. And that's for Lakeview specifically.
Councilwoman Bastide has a comment.
Yep, thanks. I think the sign alerting drivers to special need children or individuals being on the block is a great idea. Council President Kinigo, I know Fairlawn has installed those. So perhaps Officer Diamond would want to check in with Fairlawn to see how they went about doing that, how successful they are. I just know Fairlawn has installed those.
Yeah, and I saw them while I was walking around in Hackensack, in the Fairmount section of Hackensack. There's several of those signs as well. So I told Pat about that, but I'll let him know about Fairlawn.
Hey, this was an informational new business item. Is there any further questions that the council would like or comments? All right,
Excuse me, if I could obtain clarification, would you like me to reach out to the borough engineer for a proposal to do a traffic study regarding speeding on Howland?
I think so, but if you could speak to Officer Diamond first, because he took the notes and he was going to speak to you about it. And I
Okay.
think he can clarify everything there.
Okay.
all right.
Thank you.
Now, I remember former Mayor Mignon said that there were certain warrants, and warrants, I believe, if I have it correct, was a technical term, meaning that there had to be certain requirements for speed bumps, or, of course, we did talk about speed bumps too, as something for an engineering study. So if, Ms. Appertella, if you could remind anyone who is involved in this, from our engineer to our police department,
Mhm.
that as we're considering spending this money, we should review what the warrants might be or what the requirements might be to move forward, because I wouldn't want us to do a study for something that we do not have really the criteria for enacting. So if a slight review of what's required as a minimum to achieve this goal before we hire an engineer, if we could do that, that would be good.
Yes,
Let
as
let me
part-
just clarify, Mr. Mayor, it's not just speed bumps that we're asking be looked into. It's the possibility of stop signs, stoplights, the narrowing of the roadway by visual means such as striping, or it escapes me what they're called, but they're basically, they paint certain lines onto the ground, onto the asphalt, and it makes a noise when you pass over it, which has the effect of slowing traffic down.
I meant to include all of that. I was just
Okay.
giving only one example that, because that had come up on Howland about speed bumps and stop signs.
Mhm.
And our former mayor, who was an engineer for the borough of Fort Lee, had mentioned that. So I just want to make sure that that those criterias, those warrants, are reviewed before we hire an engineer, because I wouldn't want us to hire an engineer for any part of this. Certainly, I don't think we need an engineer for, we definitely go ahead with the signage. I think we can do that. With striping, we can do that. But for the other things, just to make sure that when we do the RFP, we're creating an RFP and paying for an assessment that we would have the probability or the possibility of achieving. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, there's any traffic study has to comply with the MUTC. That's the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control, and that's where an area is assessed and is compared with the MUTC, and it determines whether it meets a criteria for speed humps, bumps, stop sign, four-way stop sign. So that is the reference document that is used in any traffic study.
Good, thank you. All right, any other new business? Old business, back to you, Council President. I don't think there's more to add from the Cannabis Committee. We've already said that we're meeting tomorrow. We already tabled Ordinance 21-15, unless you feel that's something more we need to say.
Not at this time, thank you.
All right, I'd like to just do a little old business. I mentioned to the council there was a sign put on Route 4 at an elevation that makes it visible to the residents at the south part of town, and it's an LED or an illuminated sign. I have been working with Mr. Behrens, our planner, with our land use board attorneys, and we have asked Paramus to provide information based on the Open Public Meeting Act. They've gotten back to us. They are going to be requiring the owner of the sign to reduce its illumination by 10%. We are not finished with our inquiry or our discussion with them, but I wanted to update the council that we are continuing to look out for the residents at the south part of town whose backyards are being illuminated by this very high, very bright sun. If there is no other old business, we would open to the public. Is there old business? All right, excuse me. Could I have Councilman Kaufman move and Councilman Gaudier second to open to the public on any comments they'd like to offer?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Gaudier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Collins.
Yes.
Okay, we are now open to the public. Councilwoman Kaufman, you are, take it away.
So if anyone wishes to speak, please just raise your hand or type a question in the chat box and I will allow you to speak. One second. Ken Schaffenauer, I think you need to say your name and address.
Sure,
Yes.
Ken Schaffenhauer, 780 Millbrook Road. So now I believe Councilman Kaufman had put the invite out to the different leagues to participate in this week's meeting or this meeting.
I don't think I did. That might have happened automatically by accident somehow. I didn't see it on the Zoom list.
All right, well.
Sorry about that.
I've got an email that states otherwise.
Right.
And I believe there were others. I was speaking to Mr. Berninger, who might be in the audience today also. I think he might have been included on that email. I don't know if he's still in the
Okay.
audience.
Somehow Zoom might have sent them out automatically, although I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't see you on the invitee list.
All right.
Ken, we're sorry
Sorry
about
about
that, but you have
Sure.
the right to make a comment if you'd like
Okay,
to.
all right. Well, that's why, because that's when I had chimed in earlier as far as the chat, as far as the discussion on KBG, because I believe there was a funding question as far as allocation of $370,000, mentioning phase 1 and phase 2. So I thought that was part of the discussion that was going to take place this evening. We did, the different leagues, we did submit proposals, and I guess for lack of a formal discussion, if someone can just kind of bring myself and anyone else who might have gotten a similar invite, just as far as where things stand with that.
There's nothing new to report, Ken, but as I've told you before, we will be calling all the individual organizations that need to be heard in for discussions when it
Okay.
comes.
Yeah, well, and that's
Fortunately-
why, I'm sorry, Daria, but that's why when I saw an invite, an email invite that went out, that's why I figured that's what we were here for today. But obviously,
No, you'll meet individually with the subcommittee, in a less formal, and eventually there will be a formal presentation where everybody in town gets to chime in. But before we even get there, we're going to have individual meetings with the organizations so that you can voice, all your concerns, your thoughts, your wants, and so forth.
All right. Well, I guess then it's 2.5 hours of my life I will not get back.
Sorry about that, Ken.
Daria, we will see you Thursday, weather permitting. Thank you very much. You folks have a good evening.
Looking forward to it, Ken.
Okay, anybody else?
I don't see anyone else.
All right, Ken needs to be removed from the panelist, if you could. Great, thank you. Could I have Council President Kanigo move and Councilwoman Bastide second to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastu,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Gaudier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we've been here about an hour and a half, which is a normal amount for us. We're up to council comments. As always, I remind the council that they are free to make any comments, but if they could keep them brief, that would be good because we need to go into closed session to deal with two matters. So at this point, instead of going through each person, if a member of council wishes to make a comment at this time, please raise your hand in the system and I will recognize you. Councilwoman Bastide.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Some announcements from the Environmental Protection Commission and the Green Team, some upcoming events that I know the public look forward to. There will be a secondhand toy collection on April 24th at the Cherry Hill School parking lot from 9 to 1. Please observe social distancing and wear your mask when you come to drop off your large plastic toys that will be given a second chance and be recycled for use with daycare centers and the like. So it's a very popular event and we thank the Green Team for bringing it back again this year. May 15th is the tentative date set for the Hackensack River cleanup with Hackensack Riverkeeper. They will be following all the protocols they did in the fall. They'll do the hold harmless agreements. They'll have all the participants sign the waiver when they arrive. They've had very successful river cleanups during COVID, and I'm sure this one will be as well. There's a tentative date for the styrofoam collection at the DPW yard of June 5th. The final notice will go out when that date is firmed up. But that again is just a drive-in, open your trunk, we collect your styrofoam, dump it in a I lost the word, in a container, and you drive away. The Environmental Protection Commission, the Green Team, and the Shade Tree Commission are planning to work together on a program called Leave Leaves Alone, where you're encouraged to leave your leaves on the ground and don't take them away prematurely to help with ground cover and to feed the animals that are still around before the weather turns warm. So look for more information on that program. That will also give us some sustainable New Jersey points when we're going to get our accreditation again. I'd like to publicly thank Councilwoman Kaufman for her efforts with the Shop Local, Eat Local project with all the signs. They look great all over town. I know you've been working really, really hard to find great locations. And I know you are also working with Bergen County Economic Development on some great programs as well. So thank you very much for all that you're doing to help support our local businesses. And just a thank you to all of our dispatchers. It's National Public Safety Telecommuter Week, Communicator Week. And we thank all our dispatchers for their help in working with our residents who may have emergencies. And that's it. Thanks.
Well, you're welcome. Any other member of council wish to make a comment? If not, we will move forward. All right, then. Could I have a motion from Councilwoman Montesano Cohen and second from Councilwoman Kaufman in regards to Resolution 21-130, resolution to go into closed session and exclude the public, closed session docket 21-4/21, I'm sorry, /12-1, personal matter fire department, and 21-4/12-2, attorney-client privilege use of borough facilities. Could I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Since doing a virtual meeting does not allow us to come back in for adjournment, we will be doing the adjournment of the regular meeting now. Could I have a motion from Councilman Gaudier and a second from Councilwoman Bastide to adjourn the regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kamigo,
Yes.
Councilman Godier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, we are now adjourned and we are going into closed session. Thank you.